Why should I do right and suffer? I'd rather do wrong, making that Lucci and that hustle. Instead of hot dogs, I'm eating porks up in this mother. And got a lot of work up in the safe up in my cover. What's going on? We back here on Past Speaks. Came across the video from Fox Sports Radio. And of course, this caught my attention because I guess all of a sudden, people are advocating for LeBron James to be the NBA MVP, or they're saying he should be the MVP right now, or just he should get consideration for MVP, which is utterly fucking ridiculous. So, of course, when I saw this title, I wanted to check the video out. This is from The Odd Couple, Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington, one of the better shows that I like to watch. And the title of the video is Robert Horry says LeBron James is MVP of the league right now. The MVP of the league right now is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If you don't give it to him, it's Nikola Jokic, man. He's averaging a triple-double. And if you don't give it to him, I would say the third person that should get consideration is Donovan Mitchell, who is playing for right now. They have the best record in the league, so the best team in the league. They're pretty much neck and neck with OKC. Best record in the league and leading them in that charge. Now, Donovan Mitchell and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they play with another all-star. So Jalen Williams is an all-star for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Darius Garland was an all-star for the Cavaliers. But those are organic all-stars, if that makes sense, which means they didn't trade. They pretty much drafted these players. I'm really not sure about Jalen Williams. I know the Cavaliers drafted Darius Garland, but they drafted these players, and these players have come up organically to become all-stars. They weren't all-stars in their own right somewhere else, and the franchise players somewhere else, and then they came to play with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Nikola Jokic's ascension to their MVP, their ascension to being MVP caliber players doesn't come off the back of another high caliber player that they play with and that has to sacrifice for their success, if that makes sense. Like your boy LeBron James. LeBron James in the last 5 games has only been in the plus, on the plus minus chart. He's only been in the plus 2 games. That was against Denver and against Minnesota. Now they've won all 5 of their last 5. They won all of their last 5 games, but he is in the negative in 3 of those 5 games, which means he is not having an impact on these games like people think he is because of the stats. And it's just a continuing trend. LeBron James pads his stats, and it makes it seem like he's doing something great on the court when he's really relishing because of the other players he's playing with, the high caliber talent. Because Luka Doncic is a top 10 player in the NBA today. So is LeBron James. There's no other team with 2 top 10 players playing together, bro. And that is a trend that's been prevalent his whole career. And that's the only reason why, you know what I'm saying, when he does put up the numbers he does, it makes it seem it's fabricated, because it comes off of the energy and the attention that the other players garner. You know what I mean? And Luka Doncic, since coming to the Lakers, and especially after the All-Star game, is the reason why the Lakers have been successful, and the reason why they've jumped to number 2 in the West. Now, number 2 and number 5 in the West is really neck and neck. Their standings can change on any given night right now, because they all pretty much have the same record, maybe 1 or 2 games in front or behind each other. But the difference between number 1 and number 2 in the Western Conference is huge. So being number 2 in the West really isn't saying anything right now. And like I said, the Lakers are only having this success because Luka Doncic has been acquired to the team. Before Luka Doncic came to the team and before the All-Star break, nobody was talking. And not even 3 days ago, not even last week, this a week ago today, was anybody talking about LeBron James being the MVP or being considered the MVP? And if anybody should get MVP, after Donovan, after Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and I would say Donovan Mitchell would be third, but that doesn't matter. But just hypothetically, Donovan Mitchell. The person after that, if you want to put him in there, should be Luka Doncic, because he's the reason why the Lakers are successful now, and he has revived the Lakers and given them hope for, I guess, a championship. That shit's not gonna happen, man. But I think it's ridiculous to say that LeBron James is the MVP of the league right now, or should get the MVP, or even be in consideration to get the MVP. It just doesn't make sense at all. And it's coming off of him having these headlines where he's crying about being the face of the league and shit and all that shit. I'm just curious to know where this stems from, man. This shit's funny, man. But let's see what Rob Parker, Kelvin Washington talking about on the Odd Couple.
Start with Rob G. Do we have sound? Is there sound? Okay. So Robert Horry, who works for the Lakers, what is it, Spectrum Sports Net LA?
Yep.
Yep.
No.
So Robert Horry works for the Lakers, so it makes sense. He's being a little biased, and he's probably on the Clutch payroll, you know what I mean? Being that close to LeBron and working for the Lakers. Because this claim of Robert Horry's is ridiculous, and I hope they play the audio. I haven't seen this video yet. I came across it last night and wanted to wait to react to it because I was playing around with some of the new software I downloaded on my phone. Let's continue.
Oh, just Sportsnet. LA
Sportsnet?
is the Sportsnet LA is the Dodger one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he went out and said that LeBron should be mentioned or should be voted for as MVP. Let's hear Robert Horry.
LeBron James got the same calls as SGA does.
For real.
He would be averaging 30-plus points a game, and there'd be no question who's MVP because he's so much better, physically stronger, just LeBron James as a whole, and I think the league doesn't want to show favoritism. He should be MVP because he's putting in that type of work. And I might be a little biased, but I'm gonna sit back and say, league, you make a vital mistake if you give that to someone other than him as of right now.
Nigga, what? This nigga Robert Horry done lost his mind, man. They're making a big mistake if they give it to anybody else as of right now. Nigga, you are definitely on some prisoner of the moment shit. Get the fuck out of here, Robert Horry. And then you got some nigga in the background. Yep. Shut your ass up, nigga. And Robert Horry's talking about LeBron got the same whistle as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a crafty, all-around scorer who can score on the inside, mid-range, and three-pointer, man. And he's aggressive. So that's why he gets foul calls. And nigga, LeBron James is more of a put your head down and run through somebody to get to the basket, which he's a good driver to the basket, but he's not crafty he's not crafty when it comes to that. And then the Lakers have been getting a ridiculous amount of foul calls since Luka Doncic has come to play with them. I don't know if there's an agenda to help them win in regards to that, but there was one game in this last 5 games that they had, and I want to say it was against the Timberwolves, where they shot 46 free throws to the Timberwolves 26. Nigga, LeBron James is, and I think against the Mavericks, they shot 10 more free throws than the Mavericks. They're getting a lot of questionable calls. There were some questionable calls against both games against the Clippers. They're barely winning these games. And you can say they're playing great defense. That's the reason why these teams are not scoring. These teams are having trouble scoring 100, or they're holding these teams to 100 and 110. Man, that's because most of these teams they're playing don't even have their fucking their full roster, their star players like and the Nuggets just had a bad game coming off a 9-game winning streak because they play like winners with winning mentality and focus every night. So they just hit a wall, had a bad game. So the Lakers, Luka Doncic has given them a spark and given them a resurgence, but they still are getting really lucky and still because Luka Doncic isn't playing that great by the percentages and the numbers, and you can see it. But he's the reason why they've been successful as they are lately and why they jumped to number 2 in the West. And like I said, who was that? Dallas. They don't have Anthony Davis, Gafford, or Lively. And they barely beat Dallas. I think they beat them by 9 points. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards left the game in the third quarter, got ejected. Now, it's his fault, but he got ejected. They didn't have him or Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert. Had they had them, the game would have been totally different. And then, what is the other game? Oh, yeah, the 2 against the Clippers that they barely won. They won by 4 points on Friday and 6 points on Sunday. So to say LeBron James why should LeBron James get the MVP? Because now that Luka Doncic is here, and he is the focal point of the offense and the attention that Luka Doncic garners, now LeBron James, that's opening up for LeBron James, which is a good thing. But he's not carrying this team or leading the charge. It's Luka Doncic, and he's playing off of that. And it's so crazy. I mentioned yesterday how this nigga's like a monster, how he just sucks the energy and the life out of great players for his own game. It looks like the same thing is happening with Luka Doncic. How the fuck is Luka Doncic come to the team all of a sudden, you motherfucker, with the help of the referees and a little luck, but still, nonetheless, he's gotten you guys now with him being an addition to the team. He's resurged the Lakers and gotten them to second in the West. How the fuck is LeBron James getting the credit for that now and being considered, or motherfuckers like Robert Horry are talking about him being the MVP? You obviously have people agreeing with it because I've seen some YouTubers that had videos about this, and you can hear people in the background agreeing with Robert Horry. This shit is getting ridiculous, man, with this LeBron James shit, bro.
All right, even he couldn't say it with a straight face and had to put in there, I might be a little bit biased. And for people who don't know, he works for the Lakers broadcasting post-game show. So I'm not saying that he can't be honest or can't have an opinion on it. But the reason that he said that is because what are people supposed to expect when you're getting paid by the outlet that does Lakers games? Mm-hmm. I don't think that LeBron is the MVP. I think you can make a case, obviously, for the Joker, SGA. Those guys are more in line. LeBron plays one side of the court. He's had a really good season. There's no doubt about it. But MVP, I don't think that he's the MVP. And I thought that this was a stretch. It was a prisoner of the moment. Yes, they won two close games against the Clippers over the weekend, and they got a star with them. There's no doubt about it. In Luka, we know what he can do. And if anything, I think if they start to play well and Luka's there.
Let's keep it real. They barely beat the Clippers. They barely beat all those teams in the last 5 games, except for Denver. And like I said, Denver just hit a wall, man. They're a really good team. They were on a 9-game winning streak. And like I said, when you play at that level, at a high level like that, sometimes you hit a wall mentally or physically, and you just have a bad game. It just happened to be a lucky night for the Lakers that night. But they're struggling to beat these teams. And a lot of it is because Luka Doncic isn't playing great and LeBron James isn't great. He's putting up good numbers, but it's not really impactful. His plus, like I mentioned previously, his plus minus in those 5 games were -1, -5, and -5. All of them were wins. He was only in the positive 2 out of those 5 games, and they were all wins. So his impact is null and void.
I think that takes away from actually LeBron being the MVP because people.
And LeBron LeBron James, like Rob Parker just mentioned, he only plays one side of the floor. He doesn't play defense at all. And let me go back a little bit.
And if anything, I think if they start to play well and Luka's there, I think that takes away from actually LeBron being the MVP, because people would go, is it LeBron, or now that Luka showed up that the Lakers are way better? So I don't know how you get to that. I think it's off base.
Yeah, listen, you know.
And I absolutely agree with Rob Parker, man. If you have Luka Doncic on the team and then all of a sudden you're getting this boost of success, who is the real MVP? Is it LeBron James or Luka Doncic? Make it make sense to me and whoever else. Shit is ridiculous, man.
Big Shot Bob is my guy, but he is drinking a little bit of the Homer Kool-Aid in Lakerville. But, you know, as you mentioned, that's what he's seeing, that's what he's doing. But I think really what it is a compliment to LeBron. And what's funny is, you brought up a great point. If they go on a 20-game run or so, another one, because they're 15.
Now all of a sudden it's a compliment to LeBron. Now all of a sudden he's getting these. I guess if you want to look at that like it's a compliment, it's all good. But if that is a compliment and he's just saying that shit to compliment LeBron, that's just pacifying his whining, baby ass crying about how he's been treated as the face of the league. Now all of a sudden this MVP narrative has come up. And this is something that's only been a thing in the last 12 hours. Even yesterday at this time, nobody was talking about LeBron James being the MVP or considering him the MVP. So I think it's more of a, like I said, pacifying this nigga because he's a crybaby and he was over there whining about, you know what I'm saying, the face of the league and how he's been treated as the face of the league, especially by the mainstream media and former NBA basketball players, basically. Well, like I said in my previous videos, LeBron James is praised by the mainstream media. The only person I can think of in the mainstream media that gives LeBron smoke like that is like a Doug Gottlieb. Everybody else is on his nuts. And maybe Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith says what he has to say to make his money, man. And yeah, man. So I think all of this talk, well, what the fuck Robert Horry is saying is just to make LeBron feel better or something like that, to feed into his already huge ego and narcissistic, I don't even use that word, but narcissistic, you know what I'm saying, disposition and attitude.
3 in their last 18, and let's say they almost repeat it again. They got 23 games left. So they say they go, 18-5 or something like that. Well, that means a lot of that will be that Luka have been playing
100%,
and it could take some away from LeBron. But I think specifically what Robert Horry is referring to is what we've seen during this 10-year with Luka. And LeBron has been the one playing more consistent, more efficient, and better basketball than Luka right now. Luka's still trying to find his legs. Luka's still trying to find his footing, which is a compliment of how good Luka is in that he can drop 28, and you're like, oh, okay, he's not quite there yet. Drops 30, you're like, yeah, I can tell he's still knocking off some of that rust. This just shows how good he is. But LeBron...
Yeah, Luka Doncic isn't playing great right now by the numbers. But if LeBron has been playing more efficient, if LeBron James has been playing more efficient since Luka Doncic has been playing with the Lakers, then who is the real MVP? Who is making who better? Along with putting up numbers and he's barely healthy, like Kelvin Washington pointed out, and still on a 5-game win streak and then won like 13 out of 15, something like that, since the All-Star break or whatever the case may be. But since the All-Star break, Luka Doncic, they lost a couple of games against the Jazz and Hornets. But like I said, he was struggling. But when he had that 32-point outbreak against the Denver Nuggets, ever since then, they won every game since then. Like I said, it's a little luck to that, along with the referees, but nonetheless, they've been successful. And if LeBron James is now all of a sudden playing more efficient because he's playing with Luka Doncic, then who is the real MVP? Who is making their teammate better and also leading the charge to the success? It's Luka Doncic, man. And I said this previously in previous videos that the only way they'll be successful moving forward is if Luka Doncic is at the helm and is the focal point of the team. Well, as far as offense, because neither of them play defense or can play defense. But as far as the focal point of the offense, the only reason why the Lakers will be successful, the only way the Lakers will be successful is if Luka Doncic is leading the charge. And it looks like they're putting the ball in his hand and LeBron James is playing off of that. But that's because Luka Doncic has made him better. It's not because LeBron James is the GOAT or the greatest or the king or the chosen one or something. Well, not that, but it's not because LeBron James is the GOAT or the king. And if he was the true GOAT and the true king, he would be making Luka Doncic better, his teammates better. He wouldn't even have to play with a player like Luka Doncic. And he would be wanting to compete against him to win.
Has been a madman possessed lately in the last 7, 8, 10 games. Really, you can go back to ever since he turned 40. I mean, he's averaging 28 a game, almost 9 boards, almost 9 assists. I mean, he's looked spectacular. And again, when you start to look at this record, what the Lakers have.
Stop, Kelvin Washington. LeBron on the season is averaging 24 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Those assists are unimpactful. And of course, 8 rebounds, we expect that. But 24 points a game. So I don't give a fuck about since his birthday, since he's turned 40. Fuck out of here, Kelvin Washington. Like I said, the only reason why he's able to do what he does now is because he's playing with Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic is making him better. And his presence is allowing LeBron James to be more efficient and play better. But he's averaging 24 points a game on the season. Now, a player that should be considered for MVP and not LeBron shouldn't even be in the conversation. But if we're going to put somebody in the conversation outside of Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it should be Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is averaging 24 points a game, just like LeBron, but he's playing on the best team in the NBA, leading that team. Now, yes, he plays with another All-Star, but that's Darius Garland, somebody who was drafted to the Cavaliers. And with an organic ascension, to All-Star status, along with Donovan Mitchell. It's not like Luka Doncic coming to play an all-NBA, all-world, NBA superstar. I'm not crazy about him, but it is what it is. Now, he's coming to play with LeBron after Anthony Davis. After and before that, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Before that, Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. And all the players that he played with in Cleveland that people really forget because of the time period. It wasn't really a thing to look at it how people are looking at it now. And LeBron James has brought that, into fruition. Played with a lot of players in Cleveland, his first stint with Cleveland, but still, Zydrunas Ilgauskas was an all-star, and I want to say Antoine Jamison was at one point. But yeah, couldn't get the job done doing that. But he was younger, so of course, the impact his impact on the game was greater, the younger you are, of course. But because of the energy you have and all of that shit. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell averaging 24 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Leading the Cavaliers to the best record in the league in an organic fashion, and was an all-star and playing great. So how the fuck is LeBron James getting more consideration, or are we talking about him getting more consideration than Donovan Mitchell? If it's not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Nikola Jokic. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Been doing in the last, if you want to go 10, they're 8-2 in the last 10. If you want to go, like I said, 18, 15-3, they've had the best defense for almost 2/3 of the season, and it starts to become, that's who they are. They're actually a good defensive team.
2/3.
I swear to God, I was about to say 2/3, my nigga. Shut the fuck up, man. 2/3 of the season, they're playing great defense, man. And niggas still haven't said how they're playing great defense. Like yesterday, Stephen A pointed out all the statistics that lead to why the Thunder are the best defensive team in the league. Nobody has done that yet for the Lakers. And nobody can do it. You can't do it. Point out the statistics that show that the Lakers, in however many games, point out the statistics that show the Lakers have been playing great defense. Don't just tell me that they're holding teams to under 100. Well, they're holding teams to 100 to 110 points. Teams aren't scoring more than 110 points on the Lakers. Man, get the fuck out of it. That doesn't tell me that they're playing great defense. What that tells me, and when I look into it further, what that tells me is, I'm sorry, that these teams are handicapped without their best players, a lot of injuries. And like I said, the Nuggets hit a wall, had a bad game. So please fucking stop with that best defense the Lakers are playing. Get the fuck out of here. Unless you're going to really give me some numbers to make me be like, all right, I'm tripping. I was wrong. Because I ain't afraid to say I'm wrong. Or that I was, that I misread something or something like that. But people have yet to give the statistics on how the Lakers are the best defensive team in between here and here. Stop.
Yeah, they've been playing amazingly. The top 5D, I believe it is, the last 2.2/3 of the season, and the best the last over a month. So they have found themselves playing good team defense, and a lot of it is because Vanderbilt, who they've had for a couple of years now, but has maintained, always been hurt. Now he's healthy, mucking up the game, getting steals, getting them extra possessions, guarding their best other team's winged players. Finney Smith, who they signed, maybe a month or so ago, he's been really well, can play big, can play small. Jackson Hayes has come alive down there in the paint, changing shots, blocking shots, rebounding. And this has freed up LeBron. LeBron, we know you called him a statue. I called him at times. They were the Lakers because they were letting people get by him. This Luka signing and Austin Reeves controlling the ball, both of them setting up the offense, controlling the tempo, has opened up LeBron to have spurts, Rob, where I can't give it to you 38 minutes a game, but I can give you spurts of good defense. I can give you spurts where I'm locking down
That's
wings.
just meaning that he...
Before Rob Parker says what he's going to say, and let me rewind a little bit. If LeBron James can only give you spurts, on defense, then what good is he on defense? At 40 years old, he can only give you spurts. LeBron, then sit your ass down if you can't play defense. Nobody gives a fuck about your numbers on offense. It's not impactful. It's not translating to wins. And if you're not playing defense, why are you out here, my nigga? And then people condone it. Well, he can play spurts on defense. I can see if he was injured or something. But if he's not injured, and nothing wrong with his fucking ankle and foot discomfort. Nothing's wrong with LeBron James, man. If he can't go out there and give a maximum effort on defense for as many minutes as he plays in the game, let's just say 38 minutes. Let's just say he plays 38 minutes. If he can't give a maximum effort on defense for 38 minutes, how is he the MVP? Get the fuck out of here, man. And then I watch LeBron on defense, man. He stands straight up on defense. He's not ready to help close out or anything. His help defense is lackluster. He's always late on help. His closeouts suck. He doesn't slide his feet on defense. And he hasn't played great defense at all since, I guess you can say, when he played for the Heat, when people were coming up with this narrative that he's one of the best defensive players in the league and he can guard 1 through 5. That nigga ain't never been the best defensive player in the league. And the closest that he's come to defensive player of the year is number 2, yeah, and that was in 2012-13, and then in 2008-2009. 2 out of the 21 years he's played, 2 out of the 21 years he's played, 22 years, he's finished second in defensive player of the year voting. Stop with this LeBron James and this defense shit. And LeBron James is a good defender. And then stop with this, oh, he can't give a maximum effort on defense, but he can give you spurts. No, man. If he can just give us spurts on defense, he really doesn't need to be out here. And he's definitely not a fucking MVP.
Them setting up the offense, controlling the tempo, has opened up LeBron to have spurts, Rob, where I can't give it to you 38 minutes a game, but I can give you spurts of good defense. I can give you spurts where I'm locking down
That's
wings.
just meaning that he can't play defense and for a little bit or stretch. I mean, he's 40 years old. What defense is he really playing? I don't buy that.
But I'm saying, if you're watching the games, he's playing great defense for small doses, and that's the best he can do. I agree. But it allows, because he doesn't have to go, I have to get the offense going. I have to be the one to start the offense. He can say, I'll play some spurts. I'll play some defense. They're doing good with the minute management, pulling them out. Because the minute you can pull them out, I can throw Luka in. How crazy is that? So it's allowing him to have some extra energy. So no, he's not the MVP. SGA is the MVP. If it's not him, it's Luka. LeBron could finish right there in the top 3 because the Vegas odds have him at 5th right now. I can see him getting up to 3rd. They finished with the 2nd best record in the West. That's today. I could see him in the conversation. They had a heck of a season. Maybe he gets
that wasn't what he said. He said that Robert Horry said the
absolutely not. He's MVP.
Okay, all right.
No,
that's what we get.
Cool. That's why I said he's drinking that Kool-Aid.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
No,
let's be like tap the brakes.
No.
And he even had to say, well, I might be biased.
Could be a little biased.
Could be. Robert Horry, you are biased.
Nah.
And let's not forget during the LeBron,
Yeah, Robert Horry's definitely being biased. And on top of that, he's definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. He got a package of Clutch Sports, and he's got a package of Lakers. And he done mixed that shit together in a container, put some sugar in it, stirred it, and that's the Kool-Aid that nigga's drinking from. Fuck out of here, Robert Horry. That was some of the stupidest shit that I've heard this basketball season, nigga.
This is the MVP season, and if you had somebody on the set who was willing to push back to Robert Horry and just say, hey, do you remember the 8-game stretch where LeBron averaged 19 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 5.3 turnovers per game, and had a team worse minus 72 plus minus? That's the guy who's going to be the MVP of the league? And then he took...
Right, man. The nigga's plus minus is terrible, bro. Even in wins, this nigga his plus minus is in the negative. The last 5 games, starting with the Nuggets, he was in the negative. And let me go to the stats real quick. This is from Basketball Reference. That's where I'm getting these statistics and numbers from. Last 5 games, LeBron James was plus 9 against Denver. -5 against Dallas in a W with a win. Plus 12 against Minnesota. -1 against the Clippers, and then -5 again against the Clippers. So 3 out of the 5 games that they won, he's in the negative on the plus minus chart. And I pointed his plus minus out. I don't know if people know about the plus minus or understand that, but I pointed that out in previous videos that his plus minus is terrible in wins and losses. But, you know, of course it's going to be in losses, especially if you're trailing in the game and don't really have a lead, never really gotten a lead or anything like that. But his plus minus chart is terrible. And really, if your plus minus, man, I mean, it's LeBron James. But if that's any other player, bro, they would be on the bench, man. Straight up.
Like a week off just like out of nowhere? Do you remember that at all? I just like, what season are we looking at? I just for that to be because he's played well for a recent stretch that he's the MVP. He didn't say he's playing well and playing, I don't know,
He could be
MVP
first team
well
All-NBA.
or whatever you want to
Yeah.
say. But to say that he's an MVP or should be the MVP in the league is preposterous.
Yeah, he's not. And I emphatically say he's not the MVP. And you know who else would say that? LeBron James would say he's not the MVP. But what LeBron would be focusing on is, can I get this team? Can Luka get this team? Can JJ, Austin Reeves, or can we get to the Western Conference Finals and maybe make some noise? And then maybe, you never know, get to the finals and, hey, maybe be Finals MVP or something like that. That's his focus. LeBron himself would tell you he's not an MVP right now.
LeBron himself would embrace whatever the narrative is, especially if it's him being talked about in regards to being the MVP, especially at this age. He's gonna run with that shit. Stop. I don't know why you're acting like you don't know the trend of LeBron James. He's gonna fully embrace this claim and run with it. Trust me. He'll probably say something different, but you give him praise like that, he's definitely gonna take it to the head. So stop, Kelvin Washington. He probably loves the fact, and he probably is behind the shit, but he probably loves the fact that Robert Horry has said this. And now you're going to have, because like I said, I've seen people on YouTube already doing videos. You're going to have people talking about this and saying, oh, well, yeah, he has a point and such and such. Get the fuck out of here, man. That's all that shit is leading to. And like I said, LeBron James embraces it, or is going to embrace it. If he hasn't already, you know what I'm saying? Because it's been it's been some time now since this claim. Like I said, this stuff didn't start surfacing until late last night.
Even Vegas, and they're always trying to get people to entice them
Yeah,
to put
and then
money
they got him
up.
at fifth, right?
They got him fifth. Wow.
Yeah, so, but I think he'll end up at, I think he has a chance to end up at third, depending on what the Celtics continue to do, and Tatum maybe getting a shot as well. But it's more or less, I think Robert Horry has been infatuated with LeBron has done, especially since turning 40, because
But that's
people
fine.
are comparing
you
it
can
to.
talk about that. You know what I mean? I mean, there's room for that. I get
Right.
that.
If the people are comparing it, Rob, to the MVP season he had with the Heat, his numbers currently, or this 10, 12, 15 game run, are better than what they were then. So a lot of people say, well, he was the MVP then, but it's like, no, you got to, come on, that ain't apples to apples, because what Jokic is doing is utterly ridiculous. Might I remind people, let me remind people, what Jokic is giving people 29, 13, and 10.
Stop it. Stop.
Right, that's crazy. Triple-double. And like I said, I've said in previous videos, I don't think Jokic should get it. I think just a little bit more, because you've been playing at a high level. So let's say you're right here. I think Jokic, to get his third MVP, has to take it up just another notch. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should get the MVP, but definitely Nikola Jokic should be in the running as well. But LeBron James, that is the most ridiculous thing I fucking heard, man. Like I said, all basketball season, high school, college, or professional. That's the most ridiculous thing I've heard, man. But of course, you know what I'm saying, surrounding LeBron James, it's not surprising.
And LeBron this season's giving you 25, 8, 9. Incredible. All first team, honors, deservedly so. If he ends up making it one of the forwards in that I'm all with it. But Jokic is putting up absurd numbers. The only thing I'll say, last point, that could be not in favor of LeBron actually winning, but having people like a Robert Horry, who obviously is a little biased, saying,
I'm Janice Torres.
and I'm on.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 32 points a game and 6 assists, and is leading his team to the best record in the West. Nobody is even close to them. The Lakers will never catch them or anybody else. And he should be the MVP at the end of the season, because they're going to finish strong as well. And they're going to do great in the playoffs. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should be the MVP this year, bro. And then, like I said, Nikola Jokic is a strong second. And then Donovan Mitchell should be considered also at and coming in third place in the voting.
Hankwitz. We're the hosts of Mind the Business, Small Business Success Stories, a podcast brought to you by Intuit.
Wow, this is an MVP candidate type season, is because no one had second in the West expectations for the Lakers. Nobody had that.
Yeah,
that's because they've acquired Luka Doncic, man. They could have did with Anthony Davis if they had played through Anthony Davis. Of course, Anthony Davis fighting injury and shit like that. But the reason why the Lakers have been successful on this stretch since the All-Star game is because of Luka Doncic. And that's the reason, and Luka Doncic is the reason why LeBron James is playing more efficient, I guess. So Luka Doncic, if you're going to talk about somebody getting the MVP in regards to the Lakers, it should be Luka Doncic, man. Like I said, Luka Doncic has come to the team, and all of a sudden LeBron, I guess he's playing more efficient or whatever, and they jumped to number 2 in the West. That is because of Luka Doncic, obviously. If we're doing this prior to you coming to the team, and then you come to the team, and then all of a sudden we're more successful, and we done went from number 5 in the West to number 2, then how the fuck can you consider or say that LeBron James is the reason where he should get MVP? Get the fuck out of here. And like I said, his numbers are unimpactful on the game.
Still a long way to go.
7, 8, 9, 10. People, I had them finishing maybe in the top 4 at best. That's where I had them at best, let alone top 2. So I think that it has weighing more, even more than his stats, is that the Lakers are currently, as we said, second in the West. Check them out. They're the way tire buying should be. Rob and I having a conversation because Big Shot Bob, Robert Horry, said that LeBron should be who folks are considering the MVP. Both of us said, pump the brakes, Big Shot. Not right now. That is SGA's to have.
He's made a lot of big shots in his life. That was an air ball. I'll just say that.
All right. I see what you're doing on a Magic City Monday. I like it.
Yeah.
Swear to God, that was an air ball, nigga. Fuck out of here.
That's what we say. Love what the Lakers been doing, love what LeBron's doing and all, but he's not an MVP right now. And that is okay because I don't think he wants to be. I think he wants to get somewhere deep into a playoff run. 877-99 on Fox. Who we got?
Man, Kelvin Washington, shut your Malcolm Jamal Warner looking ass. So that nigga look like Malcolm Jamal Warner in this video. But yeah, man, they about to start taking phone calls. So that's the video. But yeah, man. I think it's ridiculous to say or even think to consider LeBron James for the MVP or to say that he's the MVP right now. And we all know why Robert Horry said that. Like I said, he works for the Lakers and he's probably on the Clutch Sports payroll. But like I said, after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic, the next person that should get consideration or votes is Donovan Mitchell, who is averaging the same amount of points as LeBron. Of course, not the same amount of rebounds. And I think he's averaging a little under the same amount of assists as LeBron. But his team is the best team in the NBA, best team in the East, and he's leading the charge. So he should get consideration definitely before LeBron. And if you're going to consider somebody on the team, on the Lakers team as the MVP, it's definitely Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic has come to the team, and now they're number 2 in the West. And like I said, that's not saying much because 2 through 5 is neck and neck. It can change on any given night for the rest of this season. But nonetheless, they are number 2 in the West. And that's because Luka Doncic is the focal point of the offense. And the only reason why LeBron James is able to do the shit that he does is because Luka Doncic is on the team now. So Luka Doncic is actually making him better. It's not the other way around. So LeBron James is not the MVP, nor should he get consideration or be talked about as the MVP, especially before Donovan Mitchell or Luka Doncic. And we're not even going to put him in the same conversation as Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But all in all, that was a cool video. And yeah, it just gave me more insight on this claim, because like I said, this just came about in the past, like I said, 12 hours. This news or this claim or announcement is not old at all. So that's all I got, man.